I know. Nobody's gonna want to listen to a recapping of this game. No one wants to live even an extra second of that game. I don't really want to either, but this is kind of my thing, and so here I am going to do it. The other thing you're not really going to want to hear is we didn't even play that poorly in this one overall, 5-on-5 at least. Definitely not on the power play. That was god awful, atrocious for the most part. But you don't need me to tell you that. Thankfully, we have Jack Hughes, who continues to be a terror for Shesterkin and the Rangers. Unfortunately, it was in garbage goal time, but it did prevent the shutout, and it does continue to have Jack living maybe a little less rent free than usual after tonight. But Shesterkin knows that Jack continues to be able to put the puck behind him almost at will, or at least once per game. So I'm almost going to look at this as game one of last year's playoffs. That game felt awfully brutal. Worse than this, obviously, given that was a playoff game. And Jack scores at the very end, and that felt like it was a bit of a turnaround because Shesterkin before that seemed unstoppable, and then yeah, we ended up losing game two and all that, but that's okay because we know how that series ended. But this game wasn't that serious as we lost 5-1 to the New York Rangers. Go ahead, start up here at the top with the probably biggest turning point of the whole game, and that was I don't even know the giant behemoth man child's name. 6'8" dude that you know ran right straight into Bastion's head, making no play for the puck at all. But that's kind of his thing, right? To just be a walking goon monster giant dude on the ice with no actual skill. But hey, that's what you're there to do. I mean, sure, you took out a fourth line winger who's not even having that great of a season, but you did your part, I guess. Shout out to Bastion for making it back into the game. I'm going to assume that is a broken nose. He definitely had a nice gash, nice lot of blood, stitches, and all that. But shout out to him for coming back, taking a hit from Trouba. I'll talk about that a bit more later. Then fighting Trouba and then having to leave the game. And I don't think it's because it was anything too serious, but it looked like his stitches broke back open from the fight, and they probably just called it with all the blood he was losing in this one. But yeah, so obviously the first hit there from big, bumbling giant dude led to a 5-minute major, 5-minute power play that we did nothing with. Early on, I felt like we did not do anywhere near good enough trying to get the puck over to Jack. We definitely changed it up a little bit, trying to go for some rush chances. Bratt did have a decent chance. The second unit essentially did nothing, and then when the first unit rolled back out again for the tail end of that 5-minute major, I do feel like they generated some chances. Nothing too crazy. I thought Nico had a couple good chances. There was some setup, but man, it's crazy to me that we cannot get to fully a one-time shot on these power plays. Like if he's out there, it's got to be for the sniper shot. Otherwise, I know they switched him out for Mercer. I probably go with Timo. I don't know why Bratt got switched out. I would have switched out to Foley for Timo probably because I understand the Foley being there for the one-time shot, but we're not using him there at all. I can't recall a single one-timer that he got off or even attempted in this one, let alone the past few, really. Maybe that's some recall bias here and just, living in the moment of the terrible afterglow of this game. But yeah, no, none really coming to mind. And really that set the pace for the game because then the Rangers get a power play. And going to go ahead and kind of recap this a little bit here so I don't forget too much. I get you kind of have to call Siegenthaler there for the offsetting too. He did initiate a fight after a hit. We got the 5-minute major. Can't really complain too much there. I'm fine with that call. I thought the Lazar penalty that led to that first Rangers power play was the weakest thing I have ever seen. Now, caveat here, if he threw a crazy slash in the little scrum afterwards, I didn't see it, but maybe if he threw one there, maybe if that's where it happened. But if that's a slashing going after the glove hand there after he just covered the puck, embarrassing. That happens every game, multiple times a game. Don't think I've ever seen that called as a slash. I've seen guys digging at pucks that end up getting a call, but nothing like that. If that was the call, that is embarrassment. To keep with the call trend in this one, I thought it was fairly overall atrocious officiating, at least from the penalty calling perspective. I thought the call on Hollow was fine. That is a slash. I thought the missed call on Jack um, where he got taken out on the face-off by Truba was terrible. They called the trip on Jack, which was good. I thought the missed boarding call on Luke by Truba was also atrocious. And I actually thought the Bastion penalty was deserved. Rangers deserved a power play on that one. That was a clean Truba hit. I understand where Bastion's coming from for sure. I actually don't hate him taking that penalty there, going after Truba at all. I'd love to see that from Nate. But given the game circumstances and all that, maybe it wasn't the most ideal play, but I understand Nate in the moment they're doing that. But that was a fine call. I'm totally fine with that penalty on Nate there. But yeah, the missed call on Jack, terrible. The missed call on Luke, terrible. Speaking of Luke, this probably was his worst game of the season. Maybe at least if you take circumstances and everything else surrounding it, given the fact it's the Rangers. Yeah, probably his worst game of the season. It wasn't just the whiff pass out of the corner right to Lafreniere for yet another Rangers goal. It wasn't just on the power play. The blind pass to a Ranger dead alone in front that we were lucky enough to not have be a Rangers goal. And then otherwise, we really just got carved up by Panarin in this one as well. The late goal there, their fifth one was, whatever. The bad line change off of you have to know that Shesterkin back there, and he can make that pass. I saw it the moment he let that pass go. There was a breakaway 2-on-1 chance there. You have to know that. So maybe you want to say that's Nemec rookie moment, his first game against the Rangers. So maybe he doesn't know that, but then maybe that's a little bit there on the coaching staff for pregame prep, I guess. I'm going to assume they had to have covered that. It's one of Shesterkin's calling cards. And maybe that's just on Nemec then. If that was gone over, which it should have been. If it wasn't, that's on the coaches. But if it was, maybe a little bit on Nemec there, not realizing I think it was Panarin, but definitely the Ranger cutting to the other side ice on during the long change. And with Shesterkin behind the net there, he's going to burn you like that. Dawes did not have the best game either, but really I thought that was Nemec's really only mistake. Again, honestly, I said at the top, I didn't feel like this was the worst game. Luke Marino had an awful showing. I don't think Haula had the best of games either. Otherwise, I think the rest of the lineup was actually mostly all right, at least 5-on-5. The Nico Bratt line I thought had their chances for sure. Again, no finishing. I thought the Timo line was right back at it and physical, at least earlier on. Third period, you can tell, the team kind of faded away a little bit there. The Jack line had its chances, but again, I didn't think Haula was too effective. I thought Toffoli, there was some plays between Jack and Toffoli where the passing just seemed off. Jack gets the goal, so that's good. Maybe a low confidence boost there, getting the puck behind the net. I talked about, the Shesterkin stuff. I don't even know what else I even want to talk about this one. I don't think there's too much else. Coaching staff. I want to cover this. I feel like it happened at least 2, if not 3 times. I think the fourth line got some offensive zone starts. I know it definitely happened earlier on in the first period as well. Unless it is right after a power play where your top 6 guys just had a crazy, let's say, minute 50 long shift or something, and then the Timo and Mercer out there in the second one, and they just got totally winded on some crazy shift, maybe forcing an icing or something after some great forechecking. And it's been like less than a minute since all those guys were just on the ice from a power play, and then the third line continuing afterwards. Then I get starting the fourth line in the O-zone from there. Otherwise, ever coming out of a commercial break, ever after an icing where either any of those top 9 guys have been sitting for more than a minute, they got to go back out. You can't do the fourth line O-zone starts. You just can't. And so that was probably fairly inexcusable from the coaching staff. I called out the power play shift where they tried doing some of the breakaway stuff. I didn't hate it, but it didn't work. I did not like the Mercer switch off for Bratt at all. It's either got to use Toffoli more effectively or put Timo in that spot. Penalty kill. I mean, it's the Rangers. You're going to get carved up a bit there. It's, you're going to give up a power play goal to the Rangers likely if you give them that many power plays. So that's whatever. And then it was just Luke with some boneheaded, or at least the one boneheaded play. One he didn't get bid on, but then the other rookie defenseman with, you could say a bad line change or not, but definitely got beat. So probably bad line change. And then Yeah, it was a stinker of a game, guys. But the Lightning lost. I think Detroit won, but Lightning have always been a bit more in grabs. And like I've been saying, I think the Flyers are really the ones that we're hopefully going to end up leapfrogging. But we have definitely dug ourselves a bit of a trench here in the last couple of games. Have to beat, not have, you know how I'm never going to say have to until it's literally elimination time. But this back to back, if we win both, which includes beating Tampa, it's going to feel a lot better because then at that point, I think you're only a point behind Tampa with still at least a game in hand. You're hopefully within 4 points of the Flyers at that point, and same with Detroit. And that's a lot more feasible to jump. Then you've got the Sharks and the Ducks. Those are basically points you have to bank. And then after that, after these next four, if we're 8 points out after these four, that's a rough look. If you're only 4 points out, that I'm still coasting from there. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. If you made it this far in the video, shout out to you because I didn't even want to talk about this one that much either. And if you listen to me talk about it this much, you're a true diehard. Either love me or the Devils that much or both. So shout out to you guys. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Even after all of this, as always and forever. Let's go.